First day of a 60-day trip. We're gonna paddle to Hudson Bay. I think we're both pretty excited. Been nervous, but feels good to be out here and disconnected now. We're done with cell service, we're done with emails, we're done with giving people money for things that we need. Now we have everything that we need, and we're gonna go to the north.
In the summer of 2021, David and I embarked on a journey we'll never forget.
I catch a fish to save my life. That's big. Ah! Oh, nice.
His first walleye of the trip. So calm.
Loaded with 60 days of food, our camping gear, and maps to span 1,300 kilometers, we began near Armstrong, Ontario, just north of Lake Superior, and paddled and portaged to Fort Severn. The trip crossed all 5 major watersheds of northern Ontario, ending at Tidewater on the Hudson Bay coast.
We could be cozy in the tent right now. David wants to travel, so we're gonna be fighting our way up this headwind for hours. It's absolutely miserable out right now. I hope the rain stops at some point.
The route was not a conventional line for canoeing to Hudson Bay. Instead, it was a dream from my work as a photojournalist.
Oh, bug just went in my eye.
While covering stories in the Nishnawbe Aski Nation communities found along these waterways, I often talk with the friends I made on assignments about the rivers and lakes at their doorsteps. I heard stories about where someone was born, or the ways people connected lakes and rivers. They told me about the old trails. I wondered if they'd still be there, and usually I told my new friends I would return by paddle to visit them someday, at which they usually laughed. At home, I'd study the canoe atlas of the Little North and figure out how it was possible. The line Leah and I drew went something like this: White Sands, Fort Hope, Nishnawbe, formerly Lansdowne House, Nibinomic, Wanneman Lake, Kingfisher Lake, Big Trout Lake, Wapakika, and down into Fort Severn. We craved to eat fresh fish. We wanted to smell like wood smoke and hard work. Given the times, we had to carry 2 months of food as all the communities were locked down. We wouldn't be able to resupply along the way. More importantly, I wouldn't be able to visit old friends. Another year, perhaps. It's day 13. We're on Miigwech Lake. We're heading over into the Martin Drinking River on an old connection. People have been coming through here for thousands of years. This height of land crossover that has one long trail, 1,600 meter portage into Manitosh Lake. Hopefully it isn't too nasty. Hopefully it isn't wind blown or fire burned. I know it'll be there because it's going to be such an old trail. It'll be so deep in the muskeg that it'll be easy to find the trail, but the condition of it leaves much to be desired potentially. 4 hours in the abysmal brute of a blowdown.
Day 15.
Not a day went by on the trail that we forgot the real meaning of long trips. To remind ourselves that when we go by water, we go where the land has left a story. And to read it, we travel by canoe.
Yeah, it's skinny.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be scouted for sure. It's gonna be hard to scout though. Maybe it won't have to be scouted, but it's looking a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it is.
That was tricky. Can't find the portage. It goes around a gorge, but we found the mosquitoes.
Buggy, 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 buggy. Can't find the portage and it's buggy. What? Can't find the portage and it's buggy. What? What?
Trying to find this old trail. It's very, very old and faint. There's no hardly blazes, but every now and again you find a, look at that, it's mush. But there's a sawed log right here. This, you can see the sawed edge. And there's a very faint footpath in the earth. And we're just following this footpath along blazing. Oh, there's a blaze right there, see that?
An old blaze.
There's an old blaze. Now that's old, I mean, hard to say how old. We're leaving new ones like right there so we can mark our way back. But it's really slow, tedious work. Blaze this because I can't really see ahead of here. Long trail that bypasses a gorge. Don't want to miss this trail.
The oldest blaze yet.
The thing is deep, there's axe marks in there and everything.
The places in between watersheds are the Nishnawbe trails, a series of carrying places often 8,000 years old. While we hope to find joy and challenge, the portages were first carved out of the forest for hunting, fishing, gathering, and seasonal migrations.
Old fire pit.
For time immemorial, they traveled the complex land of muskeg, bedrock, water, and stunted trees we now call Northern Ontario.
You right by my side, it's such a sweet life. Escape this time with me. Escape this time with me. Nowhere else to be. Escape this time with me. Escape this time with me. Escape this time with me. Nowhere else to be. Escape this time with me.
That was big lightning.
Well, it's the 20th morning. We just got onto Rowlandson Lake. We're crossing from the Attawapiskat River watershed, and now we are actually in the Winisk watershed. We're traveling a crossover route that was used in the 1970s when the community of Lansdowne House, which now is Nishnawbe, there was a lot of fighting going on in the community based on religious lines, and the Anglican people up and left, and they took all their worldly possessions and they traveled over, we're gonna find out, but something probably like 30 plus portages, crossing 5 heights of land, and they wound up on Nishnawbe Lake on the Winisk River, and they built a community out of log homes, and for 5 years they lived off the land, subsisting without any sort of government recognition as a reserve. So the route's really interesting. It's not some old traditional route, as if we were to continue on downhill into the Wapatotum River, into Miigwech and Winisk Lake. That would be the traditional crossover. This is a younger route, and it's more of a migration where people actually left and fled through this route. And they were leaving violence and a community that was having a lot of infighting and trouble. So we'll see what it's like. I think it's gonna be a hard route. The portages have started nice with trappers trails. We finally have a beautiful day. It's been cold and rainy for weeks. Gonna see how it goes.
Days and counting.
Coffee! Leah, guess what's for breakfast?
Oatmeal.
Yeah. Guess what's special about it though?
Is there peanut butter in it?
Yeah, there's peanut butter in it. Is that special?
A little bit.
There's already 8 mosquitoes in it. And counting. So.
Extra protein.
Protein.
Got chewed on. Now we're to Severn waters. Goodbye to Winisk.
Really buggy. Just finished the height of land portage into Nishnawbe's Lake. It's kind of bittersweet because it's our last height of land of the trip. We've crossed 10.
Oh, the little black flies.
I think we need to swim
I can't wait to swim.
and celebrate because we're going all the way downhill to Fort Severn now.
Yeah, last height of land carry. Woo.
We got Big Trout Lake after the next creek. Oh! Bridge!
This creek is straight up whack.
We're in this creek going from Nishnawbe's Lake to Big Trout Lake, but it's not really very much of a creek. There's not really any water. I mean, there's water, but there's not much of it. It's kind of like token water, you know. It's enough to call it a creek, but it's kind of a sad creek. So we're just gonna keep carrying our stuff down this boulder field. Hope for water soon.
Gonna be a professional rock hopper after this. Goes on and on. Really? That's fucked up. We can't go on like this.
We lingered a few days on Big Trout Lake, relaxing on a small rocky island where the bugs were at bay, swimming often, reading, eating fish, and realizing the monster that was becoming our hunger. When we felt it was time to depart, the lake asked us to be patient, trapping us on our little oasis in a frigid north storm, waves hammering the shore, bound in our tent.
Said that you've been hurt one too many times before. Ended up staring in the bathroom mirror, crying on your bedroom floor. Baby, you can take my word, you haven't gotta hurt no more. Things about to get much better. I wanna make this forever. I wanna make this forever.
The sun broke as we reached the first significant falls on the Fawn River, a roar of water falling through bedrock cliffs, a miasma of turquoise. In the middle of the rapid, in a stand of spruce trees, we made camp in a clearing used by upriver Wapakika First Nations to hunt and fish. Schools of walleye circled below us as we swam in the cold water, dinner beneath our feet.
Said that you fell lost.
David had hidden and carried a little ring he loved, the only one he could find made of wood and built to last forever. A certain claim to toughness he thought was a suiting metaphor. 45 days and 1,000 kilometers from where we started, almost 4 years from when we first met, I said yes when he asked to marry me.
I wanna make this forever. I wanna make
He had asked me to put on something nice, which I thought was weird, considering all I had was stinky bush clothes, stained in black fly blood. We still had 2 weeks to go. Imagine if I said no.
Yep, sounds good. Beef bouillon.
Let's see it.
It's organic, don't worry about it. It's organic. It's all natural. Made with natural beef stock. No MSG. The yeast extract naturally contains glutamates. That's good because my glutamates are tired. It's real nice. Got it at Target, $1.99.
the last day. And we got one more Lind chocolate bar.
Your favorite kind? It's gonna taste so good.
Lind Excellence, caramel and sea salt. 9 weeks later.
Are you gonna share some with me?
Maybe. We made the Severn River. And we still got chocolate.
Yep.
It's been a good trip. Oh, but that chocolate, it's better.
For nights we had been sleepless. The stress of polar bear country on 2 people demanded care in camp, and we were relieved to find only tracks of the white bear in the shallows at river's edge.
In the final days, we found ourselves looking down big rapids, almost 1 kilometer wide, and disappearing into the horizon. As we cautiously let ourselves down the south shore, we came to a point where falls obstructed the route and forced us to portage. As we scrambled up muddy limestone shelves, we stopped. Underfoot was not limestone. Instead, we found ourselves creeping along the edge of an enormous iceberg, a wall of muddy, late July ice. We learned later that the main portage was on the other side of the river. Classic.
When we arrived in Fort Severn, it was late afternoon on a perfect summer day in the north. Clouds hung low over Hudson Bay, clear skies sparkled overhead, and the banks of the mighty Severn River loomed high above us. To our luck, the community's lockdown had ended that day.
Never a day goes by where we don't remember the lessons we learned that summer on the long trail. We remember the lightning that started fires, the old paint on ancient rocks, the tough days in dry creeks, and the trails worn deep in the mossy north, ever guiding us on our way. That's the beauty of traveling by canoe. We remember the connection that feels so natural, the freedom we feel to roam in the land where all we needed are paddles, a haul, food, and the gumption to go where we please.
These old canoe routes to Hudson Bay may mean nothing to a bucket list, but they mean everything to the spirit of traveling. Their intricacies represent a fundamental connection to the freedom we gain with time and patience. When we let a trail fade, we part ways with a story thousands of years in the making. In time, our world would whisk back to planes, trains, and automobiles as we made our way home. But for a moment, we felt the enormity of where the trails had brought us, and we wondered how many others had come this way. It's hard to say who might next walk the lines we followed, and if they will notice the signs we left. Maybe all trails fade someday. Yet, even when these old routes disappear further into the recesses of time, we will remember these vanishing trails that brought us so far. To the people whose trail we followed, thank you.